Hello there, and welcome to episode 15 of the TEW 2020 season series from Then to Now, season 1. And we've got the first Superstars post Wrestlemania here. It's going to be a big show, setting up essentially our plans for the next 6 months are sort of set up on this show. It's going to be big, to be fair, and I'm looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. We are in Tacoma, Washington's Tacoma Dome for this show. We're not expected to sell it out, but as we start in the Northwest, let's go. And we start the show off with Jack Tunney. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last Sunday, Wrestlemania was an uncertified success. And I would like to thank every single person who filled that stadium and every single person who watched on closed circuit at home. We crowned a new WWF World Heavyweight Champion in Hulk Hogan. Bret Hart retained his Intercontinental Championship. The Miracle Violence Connection retained their tag team championships, and I will give my full promise that we are investigating whoever attacked High Voltage backstage. As for tonight, I have an announcement to make. We have reached a groundbreaking deal with ESPN to see the return of Saturday Night Main Event. Will be on the 4th Saturday of every month where there isn't a Big 5 show. Those are Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, King of the Ring, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Every single other month will feature Saturday Night's Main Event, starting with number 30 this month. Also, those big events will also be available on ESPN as part of our initiative to grow into the mainstream of the United States of America. As for tonight, Ric Flair has requested time to chat to you all. We've got a massive main event as the WWF World Champion Hulk Hogan teams with the IC Champion Bret Hart to take on the Nasty Boyz. Plus, it's the first show after WrestleMania. Who knows what could happen? Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the show. And we start off terribly. A 36 rated match. Why was this so bad? Like, neither of their ratings add up to 36. 53 and 48. But John Nord picks up the win. With Mr. Fuji at ringside, not with John Nord, but sort of helping Skinner out because he's against John Nord. Actually, no, I think Fuji and Nord are still together. And this is where our first surprise comes in. Ric Flair comes out to the ring. And he says he is pissed off that he lost the World Heavyweight Championship. So there needs to be a change. Ric Flair needs to do things differently. And he doesn't want to do that alone. So he's brought in a friend. And out comes the narcissist, Lex Luger. Fresh from his run in WCW. We got him pretty much as part of the deal when we lost Piper and Roberts. We got Luger in. So that's I think that's a good signing for us. I think Luger's got more potential in the 90s than either of those two do. But an 89 rating, and it is the Lex Luger is in the World Wrestling Federation. Earthquake gets a quick squash match against Barry Horowitz, hits the Earthquake splash, gets a 66 for Earthquake, a 49 for Barry Horowitz. Tag team action. The Smoking Guns versus Haku and the Barbarian. Gets 46 and it goes 3 minutes 56. We are doing a lot more shorter matches on TV now, rather than the big, quite long ones we did previously. But Haku makes Billy Gunn submit with the Asian Spike. It's a pretty good match. 46 gets 34 for Billy, 36 for no, other way round. 59 for the Barbarian and 58 for Haku. And in a match which I expected to bomb because none of these guys are over enough, and that's what we're trying to build, Yokozuna beats both Beverly brothers with the Banzai drop. We're trying to build him up, so we're giving him the squash matches. The Beverly brothers, I don't have any plans for them. They're not some people I'm interested in. So, 22 is not great. But for Yokozuna, we keep building him. And Mr. Fuji and John Nord. I was wrong. John Nord is still part of Fuji's. I got my storylines mixed up. Because they come out and Mr. Fuji announces the formation of Fujigun, the Fuji Army. Yokozuna and John Nord together. Their first target? Max Moon. The man who used to be Mr. Fuji's client, but decided to go off on its own and become a spaceman. This is not... Please, Mr. Fuji and his army will take Max Moon out. We get an interview with the Ultimate Warrior. Standing in the ring? Well, not in the ring, he's in the backstage when he rambles about not being on WrestleMania. There was an opportunity missed. And he is going to work to make sure he never misses a WrestleMania again, because the spirit of the Ultimate Warrior will live forever. It's an 87. It's a ramble promo. I literally called it a ramble. And he goes straight into his match. No, he doesn't. I thought he went straight into his match. He doesn't. The Undertaker gets a promo. It's in his spooky area, in his workshop. Paul Bearer's chatting about, at WrestleMania, Randy Savage, we took you to the gates of hell. And we showed you don't belong there. You don't have what it takes to fight with an Undertaker. You don't have what it takes to fight with a dead man. And believe me, there is nobody in the World Wrestling Federation who has what it takes to take on the Undertaker. The camera pans over and we see the name which the Undertaker has engraved on this casket. And it's Hulk Hogan. So basically, yeah, that's what we're setting up. We're setting up that it's going to be Undertaker versus Hogan, probably at King of the Ring. I'm not sure about having major world title matches on the Saturday Night Main Event shows. We'll have big matches on those shows, but I'm not sure about the top world title feuds ending there. Did I skip past the Ultimate Warrior's match? Okay, well, Bret Hart's giving an interview. He's talking about his brother and how he's not heard anything from the hospital. He knows there's an interview that KOCO Promo is going to be chatting from there later. But he gets interrupted by the tag team champions, the Miracle Violence Connection. And they start chatting. And Steve Williams points out that he pinned Bret Hart a few weeks ago to win the tag titles. And Bret Hart's the IC champion. So, shouldn't that mean that Dr. Death should get a tag team an Intercontinental title shot? Bret, being a fighting champion, accepts that is fair. He was pinned by Dr. Death. And accepts it to become the first official match announced for Saturday night main event. We then cut to a pre-recorded segment from a hospital in New York. And it's KOCO Beware chatting to Mike McGurk. The roving reporter, Mike McGurk. That's essentially what the gimmick I'm going to give her is. She's going to be the person who goes to venues, places to get interviews, rather than being an interviewer at the venue. But she chatted to KOCO Beware, and KOCO says he doesn't know who attacked them. They both wore hoods. We couldn't see their faces. They're big. One of them was bigger than the other. They didn't really say... They said stuff, but I didn't quite understand it. It didn't make sense. But to be fair, there was a lot going through my head at the time. I was trying to fight back. I wasn't really paying attention to what they were saying. I'm sorry I can't give you more information, Mike. But at the end of the day, I don't know. Owen's being treated at the moment whilst I give you this interview. We're hoping to be back on tour soon. Don't know how soon, but we're hoping. But when we do find who you are, we promise you, we will make your lives a living hell. We don't know what we did to aggravate you, but now you've aggravated us. We may be happy-go-lucky, but we can be some fired-up sons of bitches. So a nice, serious promo from KOCO Beware continues this mystery of who attacked them. I'm going to tell you now, nobody has guessed it. Nobody has got it right yet. So leave it in the comments below if you think you've worked out who it is. The clues are all laid out. It is possible to solve this mystery with what I've said. So that's my challenge for you guys. Leave your comments down below, and I'll let you know in the next episode if any of you guys get it right. Well, probably a couple of episodes. I'll probably record batch for a bit. Ultimate Warrior. There's the Ultimate Warrior's match. Jesus Christ. I said he was coming out for his match ages ago. But he beats IRS. Military Press Slam. Hits the splash. 1, 2, 3. Gets a 70 rating, which to be fair, best match we've had on the show so far. 69 for Warrior. 61 for IRS. And that's Warrior off his game, so I'm pretty happy with that, to be fair. Warrior is going to get a bit of a push throughout this year. You know, obviously, in reality, he'd gone by SummerSlam, if I remember correctly. Because he wasn't at Mania 9, which obviously is the next one. I promise you, we're going to be doing better than the real one. So I think he'd gone by the summer. We might keep him a bit longer, though. Shawn Michaels cuts a promo. And he asks, what's next for Shawn Michaels? Should he start going after gold? I mean, he was in the world title tournament before WrestleMania. He could go after Hulk Hogan. He could go after Bret Hart. Hell, I'm sure Marty Jannetty's still around. I'm sure I could drag him to the tag titles. We never got those. But whatever Shawn Michaels does, just know he is going to make one hell of an impact. Because he is the showstopper. But the show must go on. We get a backstage interview here, and it's the Smoking Guns after their match earlier tonight. And they're nursing their wounds, and they're chatting to the camera. Bart does most of the talking, because as Billy says, it says Billy here was quite poor at improvising dialogue, so we'll just imagine Billy just adds in some one-off lines. Bart saying like, you know, Haku, Barbarian, you were better than us. Most teams are at this point. We are new to this. We are new here. We are We are one of the rookie teams here, trying to make this tag team division better with some new blood. And you know what? We're struggling. But at the end of the day, we are two tough cowboys. We will come back better. And Haku and the Barbarian, we promise you, eventually, you will be staring up at the lights, whilst the guns up above you. Hilariously, yes, I am using the guns up catchphrase 30 years early. Because at the end of the day, it's a good catchphrase, and they're also the guns. They're the smoking guns. You know, cowboys, guns, guns up, bang, bang, gang. We can use that catchphrase. It fits. Let's see, what's next? Jimmy Hart is sat with his clients. It's the second one of these segments I've sort of done today. We did Mr. Fuji with his clients, now we're doing Jimmy Hart with his clients. Because we're starting to, now we've passed WrestleMania, I want this to start to feel more like my image for wrestling, which is more faction orientated. So, we are getting Fuji-gun, and now we're getting the Hart family back. And it's the Mountie and the Nasty Boyz. And Jimmy Hart is talking to me, he says, Nasty Boyz, we've got a main event tonight against Hogan and Bret Hart. Now, let's be realistic here. On their own, they are probably a lot better than us. But we are a unified team. And that's what we need to be. Mountie, Jerry, Brian. We need to work together if we're going to make it to the top here. We are the Hart family. And eventually, gold will be ours. 67 rating. Not too bad. As I said, we are sort of like starting these storylines now. Like, we're setting the seeds for these big storylines that will happen. Like, a lot of this stuff probably won't pay off for months. But the seeds were there. It's tough to do nuance in TEW because it's just pictures and text. Like, you know, the Undertaker segment earlier. You could see Hulk Hogan off screen in the segment already. It's tough to do nuance. Randy Savage cuts a promo next. And he's talking about self-doubt. He thought he could take on The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And he was wrong. Does Randy Savage still have what it takes? Elizabeth is gone for a while. She's gone to rehab. Because she needs it. And Savage is on his own. What does Randy Savage do when he's not at the top? Randy Savage has been at the top of the WWF for 5 years, 6 years now. And when you're at the top and you're falling off, what do you need to do to get back there? And Savage just sort of walks off out of frame and doesn't really... He's not himself. The key point about this is not the ooh yeah Randy Savage we're used to. This is a more solemn Randy Savage. A more thoughtful Randy Savage. Let's see what he does with it. So this is technically the semi-main event. The British Bulldog defeats El Matador with a running power slam. She goes 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It's quick, simple. 1, 2, 3. Bulldog picks up the win as we keep building. Because eventually, of course, we have got SummerSlam, which I want to do in the UK. He's got massive pop already in the UK. He's on the 90s. But I kind of need him to be good in America as well, because he can't stay in the UK forever. And a little fun segment. I've realised I haven't used Slaughter since the Rumble. So, we're going to be bringing in a vignette system with him. We're going to have the Slaughter Boot Camp every week, we're going to see clips of Slaughter with unnamed young wrestlers. They're probably going to be people from USWA, people from the Indies, and it's some of the surviving territories, and it's going to be them together, and it's going to be Slaughter putting them through their paces, and the winner will get a Saturday night main event match against Slaughter at some point. So essentially, this is it's not going to be the first Saturday night main event, number 30. Probably be later in the year, because I'll run these vignettes for a while. We'll do a tournament. We'll introduce some of the people, because I will probably have them in USWA on developmental deals. I know who one of them is, but I don't know. So we'll introduce the first guy next week, let's say. I think it'll be fun, and you might recognise a few faces. It's just a chance to get some young lions some experience. They may have pre-show matches, because obviously that doesn't matter with popularity. So like on the Saturday night main event, we might have a dark match, which is 2 of the boot camp people. But yeah, we're essentially doing Tough Enough 10 years early, but actually wrestling related. 81 rating though, good stuff. And the main event just goes 6 minutes, and Hogan and Hart win by DQ after Flair and Luga attack Hart and Hogan. And I'm going to stay on this page, even though I know there's an angle afterwards, because, as I said earlier, the pictures kind of give away the nuance. And I want there to be a shock on this segment, because we are going to have Bret and Hogan brawling, getting beaten down by Flair and Luga, who are using steel pipes. Or lead, whatever pipes they had back then. Steel pipes. Was that a weapon used in wrestling at that point? I'm not entirely sure. But they get beaten down, and somebody runs out to make the save, and it's Shawn Michaels, the person who said he might challenge both of them earlier in the show. He runs down, clears the house, and he raises both Hogan and Hart's hands. Bret turns around to celebrate in front of the crowd. He turns back around, sweet chin music. Hogan turns around to see what the kerfuffle is, sweet chin music. Luga and Flair get back into the ring, and they offer Shawn Michaels a lead pipe, and he joins in the beatdown. And at the end of it, Flair, Luga, and Michaels. Flair points to himself, points to Luga, points to Michaels, and then puts one finger up towards the camera. You can see where we're going with this, can't you? Well, I'll let you work it out. 100 rated segment though. Great stuff. What do we get for the show overall? 86. Banging show according to the game, but what did you think? That's what's more important. Let me know in the comments down below, as long as your predictions for who attacked High Voltage. And I guess we kind of work it out. Who's your prediction for the 4th man? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.